By the time W.E.B. Dubois died, he wasn't an American citizen anymore. The man who helped found the NAACP spent his final years building a new life in Ghana, on the other side of an ocean, and it wasn't his choice to leave that mattered most, it's what his own country did to push him there. After leading the crisis for over 2 decades, Dubois grew increasingly certain that gradual, integration-focused reform wasn't enough on its own. He resigned from the NAACP in 1934 over disagreements about strategy, returned later, and then left for good in 1948, amid growing friction with the organization's leadership over his increasingly left-wing and international politics. The break wasn't a failure of the NAACP. It was Dubois moving past an approach he no longer believed matched the scale of the problem. Dubois' internationalism wasn't a late-life turn. He'd attended the first Pan-African Conference in London back in 1900, and organized a series of Pan-African congresses through the 1920s. As his options for organizing within America narrowed, that global framing moved from a side interest to the center of his thinking. By the post-war years, he was recognized worldwide as the father of Pan-Africanism, tying the Black American struggle directly to anti-colonial movements across Africa and the Caribbean. In 1950, at 82, Dubois ran for U.S. Senate in New York and lost. That same year, he became chairman of the Peace Information Center, an anti-nuclear group circulating a petition for global disarmament. In February 1951, days before turning 83, Dubois was arrested, handcuffed, fingerprinted, searched, and briefly jailed, indicted for failing to register as an agent of a foreign power, on the government's theory that an anti-nuclear petition made him one. Organizations built on the same struggles he'd spent decades leading, including the NAACP's own legal department and the ACLU, refused to help with his defense. Months later, he was acquitted. Prosecutors never produced a single piece of evidence tying him to a foreign power, because there wasn't any. The acquittal didn't undo what had already happened. His passport was seized and not returned for 7 years, and the time and money he spent defending himself were gone regardless of the verdict. This wasn't an isolated overreach. It's the same playbook used against dissent whenever it threatens power directly, both before Dubois and after him, branded a foreign threat first, force years of defense second, and let vindication arrive too late to give any of that time back. In 1961, at 93 years old, Dubois accepted an invitation from Ghana's president, Kwame Nkrumah, to direct the Encyclopedia Africana project, and moved to Accra. In 1963, he and his wife went to the U.S. Embassy there to renew their passports. The United States government refused. Nkrumah granted him Ghanaian citizenship instead. The break with America was no longer rhetorical. It was official, on paper, permanent. Dubois died in Accra at 95 years old. It happened the night before the March on Washington, the same march where Martin Luther King Jr. would deliver "I Have a Dream" the following day. The man who spent 60 years arguing for the rights that march demanded didn't live to see it, by less than 24 hours. Dubois spent his life arguing that the color line was the central problem of his century. He wasn't the first person to build an entire philosophy around what it means to see clearly and think for yourself in a country that would rather you didn't. Next time, we're going back further, to the writer many historians consider the actual origin point of that idea in American thought, Ralph Waldo Emerson.